Okay,
Yeah.
I have a pessimist characteristic and negative emotion at almost every day. Once a while, I did walking to stable the emotion. This may take an hour session and maybe a few sessions in a day. So I feel time consuming. And my question is, what is your experience? Please comment and advise.
First part of the question, what is my experience? A lot. In the past, mostly a lot of negativity and pessimistic attitude has arisen. So the first thing that we can take is that it is natural. I'm not saying it is good or pleasant, but it is natural for a mind to happen. So now what tools I have found to deal when the mind is very negative is to start trying to understand what it is. So the first thing that I find that negativity or pessimism is, we can see together if we agree. I feel for it that it is an over focus on what is going wrong. Do we agree on this? To be negative and pessimistic is because the mind maybe is placing too much focus in what is going wrong. So starting with that, we generally tend to believe that negativity, yes, it is from the family of dosa, aversion, anger. The mind is not liking something. But here, one thing that got me stuck in the past for long was that I was actually dealing with the symptoms of the sickness and not with the root of the sickness, because actually, negativity, we will see now why it is, in this case, negativity and pessimism, it is not the root of the sickness. So we might be looking at the wrong place. So if we are just healing the symptoms, we are just taking palliative measures. It's like having a leak on the roof, and we clean the water that we dry the water that is coming in, and we can do it for years. But as long as we don't go to the roof and fix the hole, we can spend a lot of time and energy just cleaning up the water. So one of the things, and this is based on the teaching of Sayadaw U Tejaniya, that fuels our negativity, and sometimes it's a little bit surprising, it is not dosa or aversion itself, but is the expectations we have about the world. When we expect the world to be different, and then the world shows to be not as we wish to be, generally negativity can build up. We don't like that things that we want doesn't happen, or that things that we don't like are happening. So actually, negativity is just the symptom, but the very root, and we can equate it with the noble truths. The Buddha, when he said the root of suffering, he didn't say negativity. He didn't say aversion or anger. He said attachment, only attachment. He said the root of suffering is attachment. The attachment to how I wish things to be, or the attachment or the wanting that we have towards something that is unpleasant to stop happening. Let's stop for a minute and check if that makes sense in our minds. The mind says, it happens to me, and negativity arises out of it. Oh, this person shouldn't behave like this. But if that person behaves on that way, negativity kicks in. We can have expectations, not just about people, but about things, about life, ourselves, the economy, the government, you name it. Whatever we think how things should be, we generate an expectation. And if that expectation is not fulfilled, negativity will come. At the beginning, will be like just annoyance, but if we don't take care of that annoyance, it can grow up. But we must take care of where it is coming from, and we start dealing with the root. We take the should, you should, or this situation should be like this or shouldn't be like this. We believe the story, we identify, and then the suffering starts. Another thing that happens is that when we have, I'm saying, exploring one, Mr. Chi Hin, does it make sense a little bit? Chai Hin, sorry.
Yeah, for me, I was concerned about the mood, the mental state of me. That
Yes.
means I always fall to the negative state.
Yeah.
I try to uplift myself so
Yes.
that I don't always go back to this.
Yes, here we go now to the methodology. Let's start looking at the root on one of the things that might be causing it. We need to check in, and then we will have now the antidotes that we can use for it. Maybe you are waiting for that. We're going. So another thing that happens when we believe and identify with the story, the shoulds and shouldn't, is that our identification with ourselves comes in, and then often the mind might become critical about what is happening or critical about others, the situation, and the negativity just increases because of that. So does it happen to anybody here? Do you see the relation or the logic of it? Expectation unfulfilled, negativity follows up. Oh, I see. So one of the antidotes, let's start going to how can we break this negativity once it came in. One of the things that happens in my case when the mind is negative, I think at that moment I forget the fortunate position or the blessings that are on our life and on our lives, and I tend to take things for granted, and only is when the mind is only focusing on the things that are going wrong, hence the mind becomes negative. So we need to. Sometimes I turn into complaining. I see myself like the mind is complaining about things negative, and the negativity just grows, or sometimes even criticizing. So one thing that I try to remember, that having all the blessings we have in our life, I think is not very fair to do so when I see it, because actually we are in a very good position. It's just to make justice to these blessings, I think we can start using the methodology, which will be to start practicing gratitude. One of the things that helps me a lot now, we are going to the things that we can do, Mr. Chai Ying. It is seeing, recognize the things that are right and the things that we do have. So through the simple practice of gratitude, remembering that we are alive, healthy, have home, food, immediately the mind state, because aversion, negativity, and gratitude, because gratitude is wholesome, fire and water cannot exist at the same time in the mind. So immediately when we change the focus, not on what is going wrong, but what is going good, through the practice of gratitude, immediately at least the negativity start decreasing. So that will be the first go-to that I will recommend. And obviously the first one will be to recognize the negativity itself, to sound the alarm. When the mind is negative, recognize it and start moving on. Because one of the problems that happens to me is that the mind gets negative, but I don't know, I cannot recognize it. As long as the fire is on and nobody's checking it, it will just grow and grow and grow. So when we recognize, don't follow the kind of thinking. Put a little bit of effort. We hold the rein of the mind and say, no, mind. I know with this kind of thinking where we end up, where the mind end up. We are just suffering and seeing everything dark. So we recognize and hold the rein and start changing now the object skillfully through gratitude, focusing in what we do have and is going right, making the perspective bigger, and also that naturally I feel that brings some humility, some appreciation to what we have, and that counteracts the identification with the self. How I wish things to be or how I don't wish things to be, that makes the mind hard. With this kind of perspective, the mind becomes a little bit soft, and it can change, fortunately. So my dear family, one tip, there is one word that our expectations use, is the most loved word, and is should. This should be like this, or this shouldn't be like this. So my dear family, next time you hear the word the mind is saying should, sound the alarm, sound the alarms, go back into oneself, move away from the mind and go back to the body. That will be something anchoring the body. So the mind is not rolling in the story. Recognize the should, and then bring the gratitude, the perspective, and something that is very, very helpful is also the practice of compassion. Remembering that not everybody has the same fortunate position that we have, immediately bring perspective to the mind. And I find out that thinking on the suffering of others, I cannot be negative about it, because actually many people suffer more than us, isn't it? So that perspective, that humility in some way, help us to release the grudge that the mind has with itself, or with the situation, or the person, or just the mood that it got in, because now it's looking beyond ourselves. That is something that I find very, very useful. And a question that is a little bit shocking, but we go a little bit deeper. Seatbelts on. When the mind sometimes complains, when it's negative, it happens to me, pessimistic and negative. The mind says, why me? Why this happened to me? And the mind is complaining. I ask a counter question. Why not? Why not you? Why am I so special that, for example, I got sick and I say, why I got sick, or something happened? Why not? I am just another human being of 8 billion, almost 8 billion. And I have a physical body, and it is aging, and it has all the conditions. It might get sick sometimes, or something can happen. Why not? So bringing this perspective is pointing towards the First Noble Truth. Yes, unpleasant things in this world happen. One of the deepest things that will help us eradicate the negativity, I think it will be to make peace with the world. Yes. Suffering exists. As long as I have body, I am liable. It is likely that I will get sick or experience pain. If I have mind and is not yet polished, I might experience mental suffering. Why not? We make peace with it, and from there we work and move forward. Yes, it exists. We bring acceptance, and that acceptance, it's totally, again, another ingredient that is totally opposite to negativity and pessimistic view. We are accepting, we are at peace with life. There are a few more antidotes, but yes, my dear family, I want to point out that working with this negativity, thank you for bringing up the question. It is very important for all of us, because if we don't start doing something with it, understanding it, and finding ways to move away from it, as we get older and the body deteriorates, it can cause more problems. Because if now, with our privileged position, still young, flexible in the body, flexible in the mind is getting hooked with what is going wrong, oh, you can put that towards the future. We need to do something right now, my dear family. We need to develop the ability to recognize negativity, which is happening already, and start applying the antidotes. Gratitude, openness, and acceptance. Yes, the world is like this. What can I do in a positive way? Last antidote to check is that mudita, the practice of mudita, rejoicing in what's going right. For example, there are some things that always bring me joy. Just think that today, many people is going out of hospital. Thousands of people in the world today will go out of hospital, and the doctor will say, you know, you are cured. Imagine how their families will feel, or the person will feel. How many new parents and grandparents will be today? Graduated young people, or maybe in love, even if the world is so hard sometimes, love, no one can stop love. Or how many millions of children right now are playing and creating and having fun in the world, exploring. It is happening right now. We need to bring to the mind this perspective, and through mudita, rejoicing in the well-being of others, it is a very clear antidote to do so. Joy, we can develop joy opposite of negativity and pessimism. Joy that we are trying our best to cultivate morality. Joy to know that we are following the Buddha's footsteps. We have a good guidance. Joy that we are trying to become better human beings and are supporting others. So all these little things can immediately change the view of the mind. And of course, metta, wishing for ourselves, even in the moment when we are experiencing negativity, we just wish sincerely, may I be well. May I be free from this negativity, sincerely. The mind cannot do both at once. Generally, the mind will move away. May others be well. Recognize our lucky conditions and feel compassion for whoever suffers more. I think my family, we could say the opposite of negativity is positivity, right? But sometimes that is mistaken by wishful thinking, may everything go good, or naivety, like, oh, everything is pink and beautiful and like this. It's not that. Where we want to arrive is a positivity based on wisdom, based on facts. An acceptance of the facts of life. Yes, suffering and change exist, no problem. And I am at peace with it. So we want to become a well-informed optimist, not just optimist for the sake of optimism, but well-informed, at peace with life, at peace with nature. In short, wise optimists. And lastly, to bring a good frame of the mind, remember that this opportunity that we have now is great. We have everything. We can lighten up. Don't take ourselves serious. And often this one really works immediately. When I'm negative, don't take yourself so seriously. We are not so important. We are actually very small in the universe. And then we can laugh about the process. And that seriousness, this about me, myself, the story, when I get focused on my story and the things that are that somebody did wrong to me, wow, the mind, because of this seriousness, becomes really heavy. And I will share one last question that has shocked me the first time I read it, and it has been very useful for time. I often think a lot why I expect from life, why life is not giving me what I wish. But have we ever asked, actually, what does life expect from me? We always ask, why is life not giving me what we want, what I like, what I wish? Why I don't get what I expect from life? We could ask, hey, what does life expect actually from me? What can I do for others? My dear family, altruism and service will be one of the greatest ways to go beyond our story and start seeing the other. With compassion, we can develop loving kindness and wholesome mental states. We pause for a little while. I hope there are few options there. Let's try them to see which one works. And I will say that at some times one will work and it gets weary a little bit. Then we can leave it to rest. And then we use another one. It will change to another one. We will build our own tools. I'm just bringing up something that I've seen it works, something that I know from the teachers, and things that I've seen directly that it works with the negativity that I still carry. We can rest at ease that it is not just us. Sometimes we are hard with ourselves, and even sometimes I get angry because I am angry. Somebody has felt that before. Oh, I shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't be like this. And then the mind gets more negative about it. So let's take it easy. Have compassion for ourselves. It's natural. The root's still in, and skillfully we move forward. We pause for a little while. I'm trying my best to remember what I heard from teachers. I really wish that's something, I'm sure few of them will be useful. Let's try them and put them, remember and put them onto action.